sorry, I'm so cooked because my will to live is like, it's plummeted. But it is 10:46. Okay, and for those who are like, I don't believe you, it's 10:46. I hate myself and I'm not working tomorrow. So here's what I'm doing. I am going to do a reading vlog for you guys, Silver Elite, and it is about 500 pages. My thing that I'm gonna do, because like I said, I love myself, love yourself. Listen, BTS, okay, I know they had this whole spiel of love yourself, but then they fucked off into the military, and I haven't seen them for days. And they're supposed to have a comeback this year, right? Where are they? Okay, J-Hope is letting it up out in Coachella. Fuck him, love him, but like, what the fuck? It's me saying fuck you guys. I'm not doing the love yourself thing. You guys overpriced your love yourself tours, and I couldn't get a single fucking ticket to go see them with those bitches. So what I'm doing instead is self-loathing and reading this book all night till I finish it, okay? And this is a type of book that everybody on Book Talk is like, I DNF'd it 1% in. I'm cooked. I'm gonna be smoking meth in my kitchen just to try to get through at least 50% of the way in. Mind you, I couldn't even get halfway through Firebird. I don't know what part of me thinks that I'm gonna be able to get at least 75%, if not all of this through by the end of the night. So because I hate myself, I'm gonna be reading this until I finish it. I'm going to update you every hour. That's my goal. So I'll set a timer on here where every hour I will like clock back in and show you guys like, see, look, an hour has passed, and they're like, hey guys, this is how much I read. I feel like I should see a therapist, but instead here we are. And if any of you bitches fucking judge me, you have every right. Someone said in the comments of one of my videos on Book Talk, they were like, Danny Francis is calling Hoover in disguise. Dear God, I hope that's not true. I have no idea who this author is. Never heard of her. I did get this book at my bookstore, right? I got this book came in like 6 months ago. Nobody has touched it. And I remember a book where I was like, you should read that for the store and see what you think. And I was like, nah, I'm good. And then picked it up, right? And I read the back of it. All I read was this little bit, right? And it says, in the first part of a sizzling dystopian romance series, psychic gifts are a death sentence and there are rules for survivor. And I was just like, when did dystopian novels, when was the main plot romance? Like, last time I checked, we all live in a dystopian world right now. But like, think Hunger Games, Divergent, Maze Runner, all these like dystopian novels. Scythe. When did anyone have time for fucking romance? Because like, we're trying to survive, right? So I get if the romance was a subplot. I wouldn't even say Hunger Games had the subplot of romance, because there wasn't, in my opinion. Divergent had subplot of romance, right? But like, it's just weird vibes to me that there's a dystopian novel that's like, its plot is centers around, like, it is romance. I don't know. And then people were saying that like AI wrote it. So we're gonna find that out, see if AI actually wrote it. And then someone else was saying like it was calling Hoover. I had flipped over to the first page, and that's when I knew I was fucked, because they decided to show a map, right? They decided to put a map in. As you can see, this is the shittiest map I've ever seen. Please, dear God, don't let this be the map in the actual book, because again, this is the ARC. So the ARC is always like, for those who don't know, ARC means advanced reader copies. So it means like this could be chock full of typos, could be chock full of errors, but it's essentially the first print where readers, early access readers, get their hands on to like be able to proofread and get their opinions before the final publication runs through. So let's just say I hope this map isn't on the actual books, because if so, fire your designer. Unless the author did it. Don't ever make maps again. Right, so it's 1 minute till 12, and I haven't started yet, but I will clock back in with you guys at 1, and I will let you know what all I've read and how much I've read and what has happened. This book, I understand why this book has been being DNF'd at least 1% of the way in. I'm on page 11 and it's actually crashing out right now. It's so bad. She spends literally, she spends 3 fucking pages, right, where she's like, I fucking this guy. Okay, he's supposed to be the love interest. Normally, love interest shouldn't come into the book until like maybe a good 25% of the way in. No, he comes in on page 6. He comes in on page 6. Habibti, I'm on page 12. Okay, she spends literally 3 fucking pages. I fucking this man being like,
oh my god, he's so hot, he's so sexy.
Okay, and the amount of eyes that this author keeps using, like in the first paragraph, wallahi, in the first paragraph, not only does she use the word remember 3 times, and she says it, I remember, not in like different sentences, but like in a whole paragraph. You see this? She uses the letter I 8 times in one paragraph. I'm gonna kill myself. I don't think I'm gonna make it. Also, for all you bitches thinking that I'm making shit up, just know I got my girl here on FaceTime because she's watching me. You wanna say hi?
Hi.
What I'm saying is I have a witness, wallahi. She can testify for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna read this all tonight. Girl, good.
It's so bad. Big, broad, and sleeky muscled, his biceps flexing as he holds me in place. I bet he looks spectacular. Naked.
Andrew, the world is going to shit. She's like, you know what, let me get my Ross one.
She also spends like the majority of her time explaining how this world runs. The fact that this is in first person for 500 pages, I'm cooked.
I.
It's literally I.
Not like a big water.
Okay, so the timer just went off. It is 1 o'clock now, and I'm gonna update you with how much I've read. I'm on page 55. I was farting around, so I didn't really read that much. I'm gonna try my best to explain how this world works, because I am low-key kind of lost, but essentially people who have gifts of telepathy, telekinesis, whatever, like you can read someone's mind, are called mods or modifiers. And one of the tells that someone has if they use this gift is that their veins turn silver. And in this world, if you are a mod, you have that power, you're dead, essentially. So our main character, her name is Ren, she's 20 years old, has this power, and she's incredibly powerful, and she's being raised by her uncle in like the outskirts of this continent, right, in this like village. And we open up where she just finished getting laid, and she's trying to escape this inn to go back to her ranch where she lives with her uncle. Runs into the love interest, where she spends 3 pages being like, oh my god, he's so sexy, he's so hot, oh my god, he's... She leaves the inn, and she's trying to shake off the guy she slept with because he's being a little bit needy. She runs into her best friend Tana, who also has the same powers. She's a black lesbian friend, I'd like to point that out. She's trying to leave. There's like a hybrid coyote that had come into the premises of the town and tried to like drag a boy off to eat it, right? And then she's not like other girls, she has a rifle with her, and she shoots the coyote in the eye. She's an excellent shot, and that is where like it kicks off the trajectory of what's to follow. So she returns home, she's speaking with her uncle, and she tells him like, hey, don't be mad, this is what happened. And he's like, girl, I told you to keep a low profile, even if it meant letting the kid be dragged off and eaten. And she's like, I couldn't do that, blah, blah, blah. And so the next day, she's fixing a fence, and by the way, her uncle also is a modifier or a mod, and they're able to telepathically communicate. She's like, think of it as they all have cell phones built in their brain, and they're just able to tap in and be like, hey, I'm talking to you. The soldiers who are after all these mods, they are trained to, I forget what they're called, but they're trained to where they're able to have shields up so mods can't like tap into their brains and see or hear what they're thinking. So anyways, she's fixing a fence, and then he communicates to her like, don't come back to the ranch, the soldiers are here for you. And she's like, yeah, fuck that. So she goes to the house where she sees her uncle being taken by the soldiers. She then ends up going and meeting up with someone like someone who could essentially put her on the train to get to the city so she can go see what happens with her uncle. And apparently her uncle he was like a deserter or from like a commander. Anyways, he is gonna die. Sorry, my brain it's 1 a.m. I can't think clearly. So she gets into the city, right? And everyone's telling her
that like, you have to stay in hiding, you can't be here, your uncle is set to be, you know, at the firing squad the next day. And she's like, yeah, fuck that. So she goes the next day to try to rescue her uncle. Her uncle being brought up in front of everybody, he's about to get blasted, and then she starts using her powers and tries to mind control everybody, the firing squad, to shoot themselves. She was able to have them like try and shoot themselves, but like it didn't work, and her uncle ended up dying. As she's trying to leave after she just watched her uncle die, she gets stopped by a bunch of soldiers, and one of them was the love interest that she ran into back at the inn, and now she's being interrogated, and that is where I am.
They always said you should think twice. I don't even think once.
Now 2:14 in the morning, and I just got to chapter 16. I'm on page 149, and I want to kill myself. I'm done with this book. It's so bad. Okay, so what has transpired since the last time I told you what happened? So she was interrogated, right? She had just watched her uncle die. She's taken to an interrogation room where she's interrogated. Now, remember how I said there's like the mods, and then there's the people that are like the soldiers that are trying to find the mods? Well, they're the ones that are interrogating her, but there's a person that is on the interrogation team that's like considered a betrayer to the mods. She has the gifts, as she chose to work on the other guys' side, and she's the one who like helps to identify who the mods are. And she's just sitting there just watching Ren, our main character. Essentially, Ren passes the interrogation, and she tells the soldiers that are also in the interrogation room that you could do whatever you want with her. And the guy that she's been eye-fucking this entire time, so I'm like, okay, now what? And he's like, you're gonna be recruited. And so essentially he wants to keep a close eye on her, so he ends up putting her through like a recruitment phasing test or whatever for her to join the Silver Barracks. I'm like, a silver soldier? I don't fucking remember. And so she's like, I don't want to be here. And he's like, well, too bad. You don't get a choice. You either get to go to the slave labor camps, because all the mods that they don't kill, they go to the slave camps. Interesting. And she's like, I'd rather do that. And he's like, no, you're gonna be here, and you're gonna train, and because I need you here so I can keep a close eye on you. And she's like, I'm screwed. So essentially, for the beginning of her training, she's trying to fail. She does not want to be there. She's trying to get back home, and she realizes that eventually, like, she can't fail out of this, or they're going to throw her in the stockades, which is like an isolation room, and she does not want to be there. She befriends a couple of people that are also in the program trying to join the Silver Elite group. She's giving off a lot of pick me vibes, okay? There was a scene in here where part of like the test, right, is that they have bunk beds. It's one to a bed. But there was one person that didn't have a bed. And essentially part of the test was whoever gives up the bed for the other person who has empathy or compassion gets getting cut. And she's like, if I do this, if I give up my bed for this other recruit, I can be cut and go home. So she gives her bed to this person, to this girl. And instead of just like bunking with her or sleeping on the floor or sleeping with another of the acquaintances, the girl acquaintances, she settles up to sleeping in bed with the male acquaintance. And this isn't the first time I've noticed she's always like centered men. She spends like so much time. I'm telling you, guys, you could cut this book down by half. What I've read, 150 pages, 75 pages could have been cut out of it, because all she does is spends time looking at the guys and being like, oh, they're so hot, they're so muscular, they're just, everyone's hot in this book, especially the men. And she doesn't necessarily want to fuck them, but she's like, they're so hot, everyone's hot. Anyways, then come to find out that the Mr. McCarty that she's been drooling over since like she met him at the end, his name is Cross. And she then later finds out that he's the general's son, okay? And then there's another guy in this book who's the bastard son. His name is Roe. And she also, in great details for like paragraphs on end, she talks about how muscular and chiseled this guy is too. Like, I don't understand the weird fascination of centering men in this book. I ended where she's in the mess hall. Everybody's talking about her because, everything's about her. She's like, why are they all talking about me? And then another recruit, a cadet, comes over and is like taunting her about her uncle who died. And she's saying some pretty wild stuff, and it ends up in a fist fight. Now that's where I'm at. I forgot to mention that at the beginning of this book,
there's a character that she telepathically communicates with. We don't know who this person is, but he's called Wolf. Now, I'm putting 2 and 2 together, and I think Wolf is Cross. That's just me, okay? Because there are moments where they're telepathically talking to one another, and he's like, how's your day going? And she's like, I'm having a bad day. Tell me what's going on your end. He's like, well, why are you having a bad day? She doesn't want him to know what's going on with her because she's like trying to protect him because she doesn't want him to be caught should she get caught with like people poking into her memories. And there was another scene where she's talking with him, and this was like a day that she particularly like was being very disruptive in class and being like, I'm not like other girls, I'm just like, because I don't want to be here. And she's giving Cross, the general's son, a lot of shit during that day. So anyways, you're probably wondering like, why are you talking about this? Because when she's talking to this Wolf guy, he sounds very tired and just like dejected, and she's like, why are you tired? And he's like, oh, I just had a rough day. I think Wolf and Cross are the same people in this book. This story itself is riddled with a lot of grammatical errors. There are so many moments that I genuinely do think that an AI is involved in it. Unfortunately, it is 2 a.m. and my brain isn't really working, so like I'm kind of glossing it over and being like, yeah, okay, whatever. Her character is so weird. It's not consistent. It goes from being she's a timid person who is always worrying and like doesn't know what to do, to her being like this badass kickery. Like it's just, she's giving bipolar vibes. I'm just getting a lot of heavy Divergent vibes from this book. Like this, I'm telling you, this person wrote a fan fiction of Divergent. Also, I find it really weird how like positive vibes I'm getting of like the military and the military construct of this. It's just giving, I'm uncomfortable. So anyways, enough yapping. I'm done yapping. It is 2:25, it's almost 2:30. I'm gonna go take a piss, and then I'm gonna start the timer, and then I'm gonna start again. We'll see how far I'm into this book by 3 a.m. I hate myself for doing this. I should not have done this.
And I got eyes on the back of my head, I got eyes everywhere, so I know where you go. I can drop ties in this bitch, drop like flies in this bitch. I cut ties in this bitch, I'll cut ties in your face.
Oh. 337. Page 267, chapter 29. I'm practically halfway done. I've got 3 more hours left because it took me about 3-ish, 4-ish hours to get through this. I feel like I can finish this book by 6 in the morning. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really remember what really happened in the last 120 pages, but she is still trying to fail out of her classes. One of her fellow classmates was just shot by Ro, who's the half-brother to Cross, because Ro thought that she was a mod. Eventually is able to telekinete herself, right, to her uncle's handlers, who was trying to smuggle her out before she got interrogated and sent to the classes. They finally opened up that connection. So they end up meeting her, tell her like, okay, you have to start passing these classes. Like, you're going to be our inside intel because Fatima, who was our intel, is shot. She's gone, so you have to replace her. So now she is trying to prove she can pass. So she did like a 180 and she's been like kicking ass and taking names.
Bitches ain't shit and they ain't saying nothing. 100 motherfuckers can't tell me nothing. I bees in the trap, bees in the trap. I bees in the trap, bees in the trap.
Okay, it is 4:50 in the morning. I'm dying. I don't know why I did this to myself. I'm also on page 390. Who am I? Y'all bitches didn't think I could do it. I've got at least about 100 pages left. Yeah, there's 500 pages to this book. 501. So if you do the math, 501 minus 400, I have 101 pages. I think I can get this done within this next hour. I can be in bed by 6 in the morning. I remember how I said this book is literally giving Fourth Wing meets Divergent. It's literally giving Fourth Wing meets Divergent. I I'm gonna die on that hill. I don't like this book. It's filled with propaganda. The writing is not good. I don't understand. And the entire time, she's flipping back and forth between guilty for sleeping with the captain, right? And then her being like,
No, I'm a mod. I have to help with the Alliance and Ally do that.
feels so weird. There's so many things about this book that's so questionable. Let's get through it. Since I last filled you in, she's passed the classes, she's become an elite now. At this point, she's already slept with him like 5 times. I want to gouge my eyeballs out for the amount of eyes she uses. Not eyes like eyeballs, eyes as in like, I am doing this, I am doing that. In every single sentence, she's always using, I am doing this, I did this, I felt this, I did this. Does author not go to school on how to, like, it's okay, you don't have to use I in every single fucking sentence. Now let's talk about some of the content that's been in here. Since, like I said, since I filled you in, she's become a Silver Elite member. She's a soldier now. Now, her crew has been called away back to her home, where she was, you know, her home in the village. Remember that best friend I told you about? Maybe I didn't. Her name is Tana. Mind you, the author describes her as a black lesbian woman, okay? Page 14, she's described as, she has dark skin. And then she says that, hey, if I'm going to be dazzled by a face, it has to belong to a gorgeous woman. So she's either a lesbian or bisexual. And you're like, why is this prevalent to what you're trying to say? So the squad is back in the village, right? And they found out that Tana and her father are mods. And they're about to, like, interrogate them to find out where this tunnel is. And even if they don't, they're going to be facing the firing squad. And Ren, our main character, is able to implore the captain to be like, instead of the firing squad, send them to the labor camps. Do you see where I'm going with this? Very interesting. And so she tells Tana's father, who she's known all her life, saying like, you're gonna be, they'll send you both to the tribunal, and you know the tribunal's favorite sentence is the firing squad. And then she tells him that, you know, you guys are gonna be in labor camp, and he goes, labor, huh? You think I want my daughter slaving away in a salt mine for the rest of her life? Months go by, she's able to, like, checking in on her friend Tana. Tell me why this bitch goes. I have clearance now. I have checked in with the guards at the salt camp. I can access the camp's daily logs. I can see when Tana scans into the mines, and when she scans out, they work 12 hours, stays out there. I've seen photos of the women's quarters. They look comfortable. Everyone gets leisure time. The food seems decent. Moving on, she's still in contact with the resistance group, and they asked her to get them coordinates. She was able to get them coordinates, and they were able to, like, drop a sugar bomb somewhere. So that's what happened, and now they're getting a medical test done. I'm gonna be completely honest, it's 5 a.m. I don't really fucking remember what happened. But what I do know is that this book is actual cop shit, and I gotta finish this. Let's go. Regretting everything. I finished my book. It is 5:46. I had 13 minutes to spare. I did that. Can't believe it. It just took me a whole night until 6 a.m. to read this entire fucking book. Okay, this is what I can remember. I finished the book. I can't remember. Okay, so I was right. Cross was Wolf. You know, the childhood telepathy friend. Remember when I was like, I think they're related. They are. They're a thing. She gets found out. The whole ending was so fucking weird. I feel like I need to discuss this when I get sleep. Yeah, I can't, guys, I'm gonna be honest, I can't remember. But I finished it. And it ends with her being found out by everyone that she's a mod. And he gets her out, Cross does, he gets her out. And now she's joining the resistance. Which means, because it ends on a cliffhanger, it means that there's going to be a second book that comes out. I will not be reading that. I'll go get some sleep now, and then when I wake up, I'm going to come back and we're going to finish this. Because right now I can't think.
I had to take some time away from this book, probably about a week, because it was that bad, and I was just like, I can't talk about it right now. I know I made a couple videos for my book talk account, so here they are. But you know, if you want a quicker rundown that gets to the point, I would just watch those. But yeah, I'm just gonna wrap this up and then be over it, because I just cannot keep talking about Silverleaf. It's that bad. Because I had no marbles left and fucks to give that night, I really didn't go over the how it ended. So here's the rundown that I remembered. Again, I would love to preface to everybody that I pulled an all-nighter, so if there are like pieces missing from my brain when I am trying to tell you what's going on in the last bit of this, don't shoot the messenger, okay? This girl tried, all right? At this point, she's already part of the Silver Elite group. She went to the medical ward where she got her scar from her birthmark that her uncle put on to keep her safe removed, because she was trying to be like, oh, this is my sign to say that I love you because there's no secrets between us. One of the parts of the compound got blown up and her friend died in it. The woman from like chapter 5 that interrogated her found out that she was a mod and then had a standoff with her, but then Ren was like, no, I'm powerful than you, and mind controlled her and had her blow her own brains out, where then Cross, her boyfriend, had to like clean up that mess. And then as she's going to get changed for this ball or whatever the fuck they were having, her friend, remember her best friend that she had made a lot of excuses for because she's like, oh, they're not that bad, found out about her birthmark, because again, remember, the birthmark is the tell of if you're a mod or not and how powerful you are. Was like trying to get her to promise her not to tell everybody that she is a mod, and she would explain, and then she came up with like this bullshit story of like, oh, like I don't even, it was so bad, the excuse of like how she got this birthmark was so bad. She was saying how like Cross knows about it and his father knows about it, and like I'm like one of the intels for the insiders for you guys, like I'm not the bad guy here. Like it was so bad. I'm like, this author clearly was like scraping by, right? She ends up getting captured during the ball scene or whatever, and then everyone finds out that she's a mod. She gets thrown into a cell because she's going to be taken to the firing squad the next day, and then Cross gets her out, and then Cross, the second lieutenant, ends up like helping her smuggle across the border. It's weird, okay? Somebody better ask me to repeat myself with that, because that was just painful. Yes, that is how it ends. It ends where it kind of leaves on a cliffhanger where she's waiting to hear back from Cross. They are now separated. She's across the border. He's still in the whole city. Everyone now has like a death warrant over her head. So that is how it ends. When it comes to books, I definitely do think the bar is in hell. Okay, it is the bare minimum that we are asking to be published, and this was below bare minimum. Silver Elite should not have gone published, in my opinion. It was a horrible read. Do I think it was the worst thing I've ever read? Absolutely not. I read Firebird, and that, I will die on the grave, that was the worst piece of shit I've ever read. I just don't think this was worth a 6 to 7 figure book deal, because this is going to be turned into a trilogy. If you look at how much went into the marketing, I'll read off the list. They got National Local Review and Future Print Edition, Digital Review and Future Attention, Target Blogger Outreach, Pre-Pub Consumer Outreach, Reviews, National Advertising Campaign, Social Media and Influencer Campaign, Goodreads Campaign, Targeted Email Marketing, Random House, E-Newsletter, Website, Library Outreach. I mean, I'm talking about, this is a multi-million book deal. Like, there's no way that there isn't. And what pisses me off is that I know that a white lady wrote this, even though we don't know who Danny Francis is. I know for the fact the way this book is written, it was written by a privileged white author. If we could give like a fourth of this amount of attention and money and marketing to a BIPOC author, which that will never fucking happen in this economy and in our publishing world, it would just be great to see that. I think what makes me so upset about a book like this getting published is, again, white mediocrity in literature will always be pushed down our throats and praised as really great writing, when you've got BIPOC authors who are struggling at the forefront, who actually do the research, who actually put the time and effort in, who actually write well, get absolutely no recognition or money or finances to help them get their books out there. If I'm being honest, I don't even want to get into like the character development, the plots, what have you. Did AI write all this? I already answered those questions in my book talk videos, so again, I will link the links down below so you can watch them. I'm just gonna end this here because genuinely there's nothing much to say about this book that I already haven't said. I feel like I kind of covered everything while I was reading it. The characters were bad, the plot was not there, it was all over the place. Characters all were like, you know, one-dimensional. The writing sucked so bad that, again, a lot of us thought AI had a huge part in it. I don't know what else to tell you. This book was just not it. It was definitely a 0 out of 5 stars for me. I do think it was fun and humorous to read, and, you know, hee hee ha ha, read it throughout the night. Do I think I'll do that again? Probably, because I'm psychotic. That being said, thank you guys so much for being on this journey with me. I know it was everywhere. I know I was like losing my mind. But I genuinely, honestly, for a shit read, I kind of had fun doing it. And hey, I can put that on my list and say, guess who read a 500-page book in 6 hours in a night? I did. This girl did. So yeah, again, thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Be kind to yourselves, stay hydrated, and free Palestine. Bye.